Magnus the Red, often referred to as the Crimson King or the Sorcerer King, commands the Thousand Suns Chaos Space Marine Legion. In both stature and intellect, Magnus stands as a formidable figure, possessing a relentless curiosity about the warp and an unyielding desire for mastery over its arcane forces. In his infancy, Magnus found himself abandoned on the secluded colony of Prospero, a desolate world chosen for its remoteness from Terra. Here, mutants and psychers sought refuge, dedicating themselves to study and seclusion. Unlike his brothers, Magnus retained full awareness of his birth and development, mentored by the esteemed psyker, scholar, Ammon. Quickly surpassing his peers, Magnus delved boldly into the depths of the warp, transcending from pupil to supreme master in an instant. Under his guidance, Prospero flourished once more, its cities, including the renowned Tizca, rebuilt and revitalized. Magnus's presence in the warp inevitably drew the Emperor's attention, their meeting on the planet marked by an embrace that spoke of a long-forged connection. There, Magnus encountered his legion, the Thousand Suns, inheriting psychic mutations born of his own genetic makeup. Despite concerns within the Imperium about these mutations, Magnus assumed leadership, training his legion in the ways of the Psyker and quelling dissenting voices. His bond with the Emperor grew ever stronger as they delved into the mysteries of the warp together, despite warnings of its dangers. Yet, Magnus' hubris led him into a fateful bargain with Tzeentch, resulting in the loss of his right eye, but temporarily halting the mutations plaguing his legion. Throughout the Great Crusade, Magnus distinguished himself with bravery, forging close ties with Horus, Lorgar, and Jagatai Khan. However, his fascination with the warp led him to explore arcane lore, culminating in the creation of the Book of Magnus. As the Crusade ventured into increasingly perilous territories, Magnus's association with the warp drew suspicion from his peers, like Leman Russ and Mortarion. Tensions escalated, nearly erupting into violence, until the Emperor intervened, instituting a ban on sorcery at the Nicaea debate. Despite his dissatisfaction with the outcome, Magnus remained steadfastly loyal to the Imperium, cautioning against the perils of delving too deeply into the warp's mysteries, particularly to his friend and brother, Lorgar. During the Horus Heresy, Magnus returned to Prospero, delving into sorcerous experiments in secrecy. He peered into the warp, foreseeing Horus's revolt and the roles of all legions except his own. Attempting to sway his brother from heresy during a chaos ritual, Magnus failed and sought to warn the Emperor via astral projection, due to a warp storm blocking astropathic messages to Terra. Unaware of the corridor's significance in the Emperor's Webway project, Magnus tore a breach at an anonymous voice's offer, leading demons to invade. Enraged, the Emperor banished Magnus after the breach became known as his folly. The Emperor sent Leman Russ to arrest Magnus, but Horus convinced him to exterminate the Thousand Suns instead. In the burning of Prospero, Magnus witnessed the destruction of his cherished libraries. Engaging Russ in combat, Magnus vanished into the warp with his forces, seeking revenge. Succumbing to chaos, he became a being of corporeal warp energy in the Eye of Terror, alongside his legion, shattered into independent shards. In the aftermath of Prospero's devastation, shards of Magnus emerged in unexpected places, each carrying a piece of his fractured essence. One such shard appeared to Jagatai Khan amidst the ruins, urging a decision in the conflict's tumult. Another manifested aboard the Salamander's vessel, steering Captain Artellus Numion toward a selfless sacrifice for Vulcan's return. Meanwhile, Magnus's main presence lingered on the planet of sorcerers, his once formidable form now in decline. Ahriman, tasked with gathering the scattered shards, embarked on a journey to retrieve them, each shard serving as a vital fragment of Magnus's power. As rejuvenation beckoned, Magnus, fortified by the recovered shards, led his Thousand Sons into the fray at Ulanor, joining Horus in the impending assault on Terra. Before the pivotal siege of Terra, Magnus and Ahriman ventured to Prospero in search of a potent weapon against the Emperor's defences. Amidst the ruins, Magnus revealed past transgressions, unsettling Ahriman, with his candid admission of erasure and deception, casting a shadow over their mission. In Magnus's pursuit of retribution against the Emperor, he forged an alliance with Horus during the Siege of Terra. Guiding the traitor forces, Magnus sought to dismantle the Emperor's psychic defences, sowing discord within their ranks. Strategically positioning his forces, Magnus orchestrated an assault on the palace's western region. Despite fierce opposition from loyalist defenders, Magnus remained steadfast in his quest to confront the Emperor. Venturing into the depths of the Imperial dungeon, Magnus confronted visions and revelations, driven by his unwavering determination to confront his father. Yet, his path was obstructed by an unexpected encounter with Vulcan, challenging Magnus in a cosmic struggle. Faced with the Emperor's decree and the sacrifice of his legion, Magnus stood at a crossroads. Desperate for power, he surrendered to the darkness, aligning himself with chaos and sealing his fate as a traitor. Embracing his transformation into an avatar of Tzeentch, Magnus delved into the Imperial webway on a malevolent mission. Confronted by Vulcan, their clash symbolized the eternal struggle between loyalty and chaos, marking a pivotal moment in the galaxy's history. In the aftermath of the Horus Heresy, the Thousand Sons, led by Magnus, faced a dire predicament. Their allegiance to Tzeentch had wrought mutations that threatened to consume them. Desperate to find a solution, they embarked on a perilous endeavor. With Ahriman at their side, they cast a powerful spell to counter the corruption, but the price was steep. Their bodies turned to dust, their armors sealed tight. Magnus, furious at the outcome, confronted Ahriman and his council. In the midst of their conflict, Tzeentch's voice echoed, revealing the manipulation behind their plight. Though tempted to strike down Ahriman, Magnus relented, banishing him on an eternal quest to fathom the depths of Tzeentch's schemes. In the 41st millennium, Ahriman attempted another rubric to cure his legion, unaware of its dire consequences. Magnus intervened, assimilating lost shards of himself, but sacrificing his noble qualities in the process. Thus, the Crimson King's quest for power and revenge continued, unabated, his resolve unwavering amidst the chaos of the Materium. In the waning years of the 41st millennium, Magnus orchestrated his return to the Materium, targeting the icy plains of Fenris, the stronghold of his archenemy, the Space Wolves. For centuries, he meticulously prepared for this invasion, sowing the seeds of corruption within the chapter and orchestrating events to weaken their defenses. Despite being thwarted by an Imperial coalition and banished by Logan, Grimnar, Magnus achieved his ultimate goal, unleashing a cataclysmic warp rift by sacrificing Midgardia and transporting the planet of the sorcerers above Prospero. During the Terran Crusade, Magnus emerged once more, leading a formidable Thousand Sons fleet in a vessel reminiscent of the Great Pyramid of Tizca. Employing elaborate rituals, he attempted to ensnare the reborn Primarch Rubute Guilliman within the Maelstrom. Although Guilliman's escape was foreseen, Magnus confronted him within the webway, seeking to exploit the Harlequins to open a portal to Terra. Yet, Guilliman's outmaneuvered him, arriving instead at Luna, where a fierce battle ensued. Despite initially having the upper hand, Magnus was weakened by the Sisters of Silence, allowing Guilliman to strike him down and force his retreat. In subsequent events, Magnus led a vast Tzeentchian host in the invasion of the Stygius sector, and returned to Prospero to harness newly discovered portals for summoning demons. However, his plans were thwarted by the Space Wolves, with a clever distraction from Lucas the Trickster, sealing their escape. Undeterred, Magnus seeks to exploit the Great Rift, aiming to elevate humanity into a psychic race and establish Tzeentch's foothold in the Materium. Despite setbacks during the Psychic Awakening, Magnus remains determined to fulfill his dark ambitions. Magnus the Red, with his enigmatic presence and formidable psychic abilities, casts a long and turbulent shadow over the galaxy. As a Primarch of unparalleled power, his actions have reverberated through the annals of history, leaving indelible marks on both the physical and metaphysical realms. From the heights of his noble aspirations to the depths of his descent into chaos, Magnus embodies the dichotomy of ambition and downfall. His quest for knowledge and mastery of the warp has both elevated and damned him, drawing the gaze of his allies and foes alike. Whether orchestrating grand schemes to reshape reality or battling against the forces of fate, Magnus stands as a testament to the boundless potential and peril of wielding power beyond mortal comprehension. In the ever-shifting tapestry of the galaxy, his influence remains a potent force, shaping the destinies of empires and individuals alike.